Now, clothes serve the obvious function of covering your body, but they also sometimes speak to distinction and rank. And most of the distinctions in this world are pretentious and speak to all sorts of false ideals and constructs of superiority. And that's why there's this saying that expensive clothing is a poor man's attempt to appear prosperous. And then, of course, you have the way that clothes have historically been used to define castes in society. And that's why in Hajj, the ihram is a means of removing distinction and equalizing all people before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have all these people in the same place calling out to Allah, but their ranks are ideally supposed to be completely unknown to all but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So on the Day of Judgment, what are our clothes sewn by? They're sewn by our deeds, and our distinction is made clear solely on the basis of our deeds. And this deeper meaning of clothes in the Quran is in multiple places. So for example, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, libasu taqwa, the cloth of piety, or وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ, purify your garment, which many of the scholars said means your deeds. Or how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the spouse as a garment to the spouse, and that they conceal and they beautify. So the needles with which you sew your garment in the hereafter are the days and hours passing by in this world. And the garment that you have in the hereafter is the culmination of that lifetime of sewing your garment. And for some, they're going to show up on the Day of Judgment and find no garment of good for them. And Salama radiallahu ta'ala anha describes this. She says, one night I saw the Prophet ﷺ and he kept on saying, كَم مِّن كَاسِيَةٍ فِي الدُّنْيَا عَارِيَةٍ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. How many people are well dressed in this life only to be completely naked on the Day of Resurrection? In an authentic narration, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu anhu, he says, I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam say, إِنَّ الْمَيِّتَ يُبْعَثُ فِي ثِيَابِهِ الَّتِي يَمُوتُ فِيهَا, that the dead person will be resurrected in the clothes in which he dies. But of course we know the narration that is more popular and widely reported and authentic, that people are naked on the Day of Judgment. Some scholars said that this is at some point on the Day of Judgment, meaning you first show up out of your grave with the clothes that you had at death, and then they're taken away. Others said that this refers to the kafan that separates the believers from the disbelievers. And some said this refers to your deeds. In any case, we have sufficient evidence to say that the priority and choice of clothing on the Day of Judgment is based upon righteousness, and it specifically surrounds this notion of honor. And honor is through two ways, through personal piety, and then it's through honoring others, your brothers.